guys, it's Kirsten with Sleeping on the Job podcast. And with me today, I have Julie Gylor from so many things. I guess I'm going to start from how I know you, and then you can from all the other things that you have going. So Julie is one of the 4 presenter/teachers from the Off-Camera Flash seminar through, is it Speedlight Fundamentals? What's the...
Flashgear.net sponsors the Speedlight Fundamentals seminars. We have a level 1 and a level 2 seminar. Yep.
Yeah. And the Facebook group is,
it's
a mile long. So you share that.
Yeah. The Facebook group name is actually just quite a mouthful. It's Speedlight, Strobe and Speedlight Fundamentals, a beginner's guide to OCF. That's the whole name of the group. And yes, that is the brainchild of Tim Payne, who is the founder of flashgear.net.
Yes. So I can't believe it's coming up on 3 years, because my daughter came with me and she was 15 and she's turning 18 in like 2 months. So almost 3 years ago today, I kind of felt in a rut with my business. And I've been in business at that point 26 years. And I shoot the same thing. I shoot portraiture, senior pictures, babies, whatever. And I just kind of felt I need to find something that's going to spark, that's going to inspire me. And literally, I must have been on Tim's Speedlight Fundamental Guide to Idiot page or whatever. And I was like, oh, there's a seminar in Boston. I should just do that. So I begged my daughter to come with me, and she did. She also takes pictures for the newspaper and yearbook and stuff. And I said, come with me, whatever. So she ended up coming with me, and I knew nothing. I literally bought. I said to Tim, here's my credit card. Tell me what I need. I don't know what I need. And the rest is history. But I met Julie because she was, you're the only woman presenter. Not that matters, but, and then come to find out we had some stuff in common. So that was.
We have in common, that's how I actually met Tim, was someone referred me to the Facebook group probably about 6 or 7 years ago now. It might be even a tiny bit longer. I had been gifted some off-camera flash equipment, and I used it shooting weddings and stuff, but I hadn't used it for portraits, and I stumbled onto this group, but I wasn't able to use the light that I was gifted with my camera. So I literally was told, contact him. He'll tell you what to buy. Just buy whatever he says. So that's basically how I got started with the group as well. And then from there, Mark was doing his tutorials and stuff. But when I joined the group, it was 2,000 people. And now I think the current count is, I think we're at 88,000 people.
I was going to say it's tens of thousands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Very exciting. But my daughter and I had a blast because I've never used flash outside in my life prior to that, ever. Not once.
Well, so that was. You aren't even alone there. We have a lot of people who literally have bought. We had one couple who had bought their cameras the day before the seminar. Ooh. So they just came into it. I believe they were hairdressers, and they came into it as a team and with brand new gear all around. And so we're really, excited that we can give, fundamentals to people to get started from no matter where they are, even very green. So
where can they go? Just before I start asking you the real questions, where do they go to sign up for these seminars?
So the seminars this year, we're going to hold them in Dallas, Boston, DC, and Denver, not in that particular order. And if you go to www.flashgear.net, there is a tab on there that says 2022 OCF seminars, and you will find the registration information for each of those seminars. And again, we have people who are green, but we also have people who have been photographing a while and just want a system that serves them well, to get going with their photography in a way that's really consistent. So we serve a wide range of people at the seminars, but it's a fun time.
It was funny because I went there with no gear at all. And I had said to Tim, what do I do? And he's like, don't worry about it. Just shop when you get here. Okay, fine. So I was so embarrassed that I was going to show up and not have any gear, even though I've been a photographer since 1992 professionally. And I learned in 1986, even before that. You probably weren't born yet, and I don't want to hear about it. So anyway, but there were some people in my seminar in Boston 3 years ago. I remember a group of two or three people, whatever, that were tour guides, and they just wanted to be able to take pictures of the people on the tour. You know what I mean? Just for souvenirs and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't feel so bad. So you definitely don't have to be any kind of professional to learn some stuff at all. And
So
then I was
true.
probably the longest, being a photographer for over 25 years, 27, 6 years at that time, a couple years ago. I'm going into my 28th year now. I had a pretty good foundation going in and still learned consistently for 3 days straight.
I'm so excited to hear that. But I like to think, I mean, this is shameless bragging, right? But between, me and the other instructors, we have such a diverse body of experience. But I think what really sets us apart is we're just totally approachable. It's more like friends hanging out from the week for the weekend. And we definitely have, solid fundamentals that we're going to teach, but we're going to meet you where you are and give everybody something to work on, because we're trying to bridge that gap between, all of us have gone to, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us have gone to some sort of educational thing where you just get handed a controller and you're off on your merry little way. Here, this thing is all set up for you. Here you go. So that's one end of the spectrum. And then the other end of the spectrum is you sort of just get talked to for a little while. And we're trying to, bridge the gap here with, we want to give people more of a one-on-one experience, but at the pricing of a conference, So we've got it structured so we can spend a little bit of time with everybody and make sure that everybody gets something that's actionable for them and where they are as well. So, and with your own gear, that's the important part. We do have gear that we'll lend you, but we're trying to get you set up so that you can do it with your own stuff. And it's not just plug and play, based on needing particular things. You can do this with a speed light. You can do this with a, pro photo light. It doesn't really matter. We're teaching those fundamentals. So, I even learn sometimes, particularly when Mark gets going with the whiteboard and the marker, and we're like, no, take the marker away. But, there definitely is. That's the great thing about fundamentals. You can always learn from revisiting them.
Absolutely. So one thing that everyone says, not just Tim, but you, Jason, down the line was take it home and play with it. Take it home and play with it. Take it home and play with it. I assumed he was referring to my gear that I just bought, but anyway, but take it home and play with it. And so when I got home, like the very next day, I was like, all right, Katie, my daughter, all right, come on, let's go outside. Let's set this up. Let's figure this out. But that is literally, if you're not going to take it out and play with it, don't just don't, you know what I mean? Like you have to just play with it. And especially for me, because I'm the opposite of Mark. I'm not a man of science, a man of physics, like people are like, well, why did you put your light there? Because why did you do these settings? It look good. There's no, obviously, setting exposure, and I do get it right in camera and whatever. But a lot of it is just, I eyeball it and it looks good. Like the sun was really beautiful in her face. So I put the light behind her in her hair. I do that a lot actually. But I just play with it. You play with it and then you get results, or you almost like you play with it until you find your like, this inspires me. You know what I mean? Like this is sparking joy in my photo shoot,
I think that's what also makes us a great team. And where I feel like I fit into this is, Mark is the very technical mind, and he can tell you down to a photon level what is happening with your camera. I
have no interest in that.
I don't either. I don't even want to know. He'll tell me anyway. He'll tell me anyway, but so
it's like the Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme in front of the whiteboard where he's got everything connected, and I'm like, listen, you lost me at, you know what I mean? Like
I have this photo of him. No. So like my feeling of like what I feel like I actually do for people, and this is kind of really concreted for me lately, is I feel like I'm the mover of mental blocks, because I feel like that's what's holding a lot of us back, is we feel like, oh no, what if I do it wrong? What if I blow them out? Or what if this isn't in focus? Or what if it's just a bad photo? And really, learning lighting is, and what we do at seminar really is, if you're ready to play and you're ready to do it, it's moving that block out of the way to just go like, I can try things. I have a way to approach this, as a structure for how to play. but also that you could just try whatever you wanted to do. There's not really a right and a wrong whenever it comes to seeing what will happen. Just, then you can adjust from there. But it is really important to do that.
Yeah. So as far as removing the mental block, so I'm going to expand on that and then tie it into that. So that's what I love about you. And that's what I wanted you to talk about today was your creating things with light. But let me just add a story. So I paid $1,600 for a 4-hour or maybe a 5-hour one-on-one with someone because, and this is like 15, 16 years ago, forever ago, because I loved her images. I loved her images. When I got there, I found out she's been a professional photographer for 5 years. I was a professional photographer for 35 years. And she's like, okay, let's talk about setting your ISO. And I'm like, oh, girl, I've been doing this for, 3 times longer than you. I know how to do all this, but my pictures don't look like yours. So after realizing I ended up knowing more than her as far as technical stuff goes. But what she brought to the table was get the expensive dress or the vintage, whatever dress and the floral halo and have her looking into the light, so it's the rim lit, beauty and this, that. And I was like, oh, so I have zero creativity. Like I tell people all the time, you give me inspiration and I can match it. But if you ask me to concoct something up in my brain, I'll be like I myself go to Pinterest to find something to inspire me, So when I look at your pictures, and you can tell people where to find those in a second, but when I look at your things that you create, either with your children or friends or models or whatnot, it inspires me to, I just bought my daughter this big Victorian looking shirt that I'm going to, do something with. I don't even know, in my studio, because looking at yours, that just doesn't happen. You didn't stumble across your daughter sitting with angel wings. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't something that just happened. That's something that you put together and did and created. So that's where I turn to you for inspiration of just do it. Just get a bunch of stuff and start creating.
It makes my heart so happy to hear this because, if I may, just like as a teacher, like my heart for this is that art is so important for us human beings, whether you're a photographer or a painter or a crafter, or you like decorating your house, or you like decorating your, doing makeup or whatever, however it is that you express yourself. Like, I think that when we feel ourselves as artists and we are able to embrace that, I am an artist, it really is fulfilling in a way. And that art is for everyone. Art is not for the elite. Art is not for somebody who has a bunch of equipment or nice stuff. It really is for you. It's for you and you, right? Like it's for everybody.
Right.
And where that starts for me is the permission that I'm not going to do it. I kind of already said this, so I guess it's repetitive, but there isn't a right or a wrong. I like it, and that's enough. Like I like it. So whatever it is that you like, that's the very spark of what it is, and giving yourself permission to like it without pressure. Because sometimes what we do is we see something and we look at it, and the first thing that we think of is like, oh, I love that dress. I wish I could do something cool with it. And the problem with that way of thinking is you've already shut yourself down, where instead, like when you look at something that you really like, you like it. I'm gonna said that way too many times. Like. You like the dress. And now that's the first step. Now you're one step into it. And that's actually just fine, because a lot of time the art does take time to take shape. So it's not like I see a dress or I see wings, or other people who are really creative are seeing things. There are some people who are savant. Have you seen the guy who like sketches people on the subway?
Yes, I'm totally on that side of TikTok.
Yeah, so like that's not me. I take forever. I'm a slow poke. That the angel photo, the I think the photo that you're referencing there with my daughter, that was over a year in the works. A lot of my ideas take a long time but what I'm learning to do is embrace that that's okay, that time process that's invested into it. So I saw the dress and I loved the dress and I was like, wow, that looks angelic. And believe it or not, I didn't make the connection to angel wings right away. Like you would think, oh, that just
Right.
came together. But it took time later when I saw the wings and I'm like, oh, I have this angelic dress and I have angelic wings. And ooh, but it keeping that thought open that you don't have to pressure yourself into doing something right away. There's no right or wrong, and you can just go with what you like. Those are all the conduit to creativity, and also that collecting ideas. This was a major mental block for me. Every idea doesn't have to be executed in order to be valuable to your process. You can have a lot of ideas and then just abandon them, and that's fine. Like
Right.
why is it that you have to have an idea and then have to see it all the way through? You don't. And you don't have to guilt yourself for it. Like, oh, I bought this dress and I was going to do something with it. Now it's just sitting there. And I'm giving myself permission to hold the dress now and go, do I want to do something with this anymore? And it's either yes or no. Yeah, I'll hang on to it for later. Or no, I don't even like it anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. But I liked it at the time and that's fine and valid. Like, we have permission to just make things up as we go along. We're our own worst enemy. We need to shut our own self up, like, no, bad Julie. I don't want to hear it about your guilt trip. I liked it at the time and I was going to do something and I changed my mind. Like I am embracing this phrase now of I reserve the right to make a mistake. I reserve the right to do that. That's my prerogative. And then as part of that, I'm going to, execute something and have a creative idea down the road.
Right. So the picture you just posted of Mark, so I'll leave it at that. But so I can look at it. I mean, I looked at it. And I chuckled a little bit at first, but he's wearing a toga.
It is funny because Mark is a very serious dude, and it's unexpected for him. So I like that people are having a little bit of joy with this. But
yeah, the Julius Caesar or whatever.
Yeah, how that started was I saw a picture of his sculpture, and I was like, Mark, this is your grouchy face, and he was like, I showed it to him right away. I'm always telling him about my ideas, and he's not listening, but it's fine. So I turned like, this is your grouchy face. I want you to do this. He's like, I'm not wearing a dress.
Oh.
Because I was like, wear a toga. I'm like, it's not a dress, it's a toga. He's just all hung up about this. But anyway, after pestering him for a while, but I didn't know how at the time when I saw that, I actually didn't know how to create what I wanted to create either. So instead of telling myself, oh, I wish I could do something with this idea, I never will. Instead, I thought to myself, I'm going to hold on to this idea. And then whenever I'm ready, I'm going to pull it out. And whenever Mark is ready, when he's done listening to me beg him to do this and finally gives up, I'll be, be ready to put the two things together. So I guess that's the story behind that one. It wasn't necessarily complicated, but
the thing I love about it is, so I tell people all the time to like, what's the word? Like not deconstruct the light, but look at the properties of light. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, with your daughter, she's looking up. It looks like she's looking up to, heaven or whatnot, but, have the light coming down and having her look at the light, or the picture of Mark, it looks like, let's use the light and have it look like window light and have it, just being able to play and manipulate the light. But when I look at a picture of anyone's picture, before the straight out of camera, before the pullback, before anything, I can look at it and go, oh, okay, so I see what's going on here. There's a light in the face. There's a light behind, like a little rim light going on over here. There's maybe a gel on the background. So when you understand light, I feel like that is when blocks come down.
It is. And I think there's two parts of that are really important. One of them is that enough people don't do this, and I think would really change their life. It changed my life. And I think that we forget about this. Dancers and musicians who do amazing feats do very small things over and over again to build muscle memory. So a pianist will play the fingering for scales, even really experienced ones, right? Or they will play the same transition in a musical piece over and over and over and over again. Right. And a dancer will do these very small fundamental movements. And we forget about that with photography. We set up these big elaborate scenes, and then we want the big elaborate scene to come together. But really what would help is literally, I promise you, if you just got an Amazon box, we all have Amazon boxes. I know it. I just know it. That if you just get a box and you bring it out and you put it on the table and you take pictures of it over and over again, you build muscle memory and learn and an eye memory to see the light and to know what to expect, and it will help you. And then the second aspect of that is when you do get your epic set put together or your, whatever you're trying to accomplish, instead of seeing the things that you don't like as obstacles, you see them as your guides. So if I see something that I don't like, instead of looking at it as like, I don't like it, it's bad, I can't do this. Instead, I go, I don't like how the shadows are too hard. What could I do to make them softer? So you start like this, interaction with yourself about how your dislikes can guide you. Dislikes are not negative, like, I don't like how this is too bright, turn it down. I don't like how this is too hard, get a softer modifier. I don't like how this light is too blue, put a gel on it. The things that you don't like will help you. But, the practice, like, yeah, I can't say it enough. Like, that's something very few people actually do, though. They really don't take it out. That you feel like you want a person, if only I had a model, if only I had, but you don't need that to develop your skill.
No, and it's one of those things where, like I said, a few minutes ago, things don't just happen. Like, things are created. Like this could have taken, like you said, a year in the making, or a 3 hours in the making, or 2 hours in the making, or, I really want a picture of my child looking like this, or a baby looking like that, or a toddler looking like this. And I feel like I have like this, do you know what a card catalog is, Julie?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So I feel like I have this card catalog, or maybe that's not even the right word. Maybe it is, in my brain, where I have all these things tucked in, where I really want to try someday this. And sometimes when I see something that inspires me, I feel like I'm going back, and I'm pulling something out of my card catalog brain that was, 10 years ago. It's been sitting there. I want to try this, and then you try it. So my whole studio career, I've always had one light. I just have one light. I have a reflector, which I guess people say, well, that's two, but you know what I'm saying? I have one light. We're not going to, come on. Anyway, I had one light and I had a reflector, and I was completely, like, for 20 something years, I loved my work. I loved my headshots. I thought I did amazing, this, that, and the other thing. Well, after the seminar, I had bought my 8200. Yeah, just my 8200 I bought, and immediately I started using that as a hair light. So now I have my Einstein, and Tim taught me how to communicate my Einstein to my 8200. So now I have my Einstein as my main light, and I have a hair light now, which I like shooting dark and moody in my studio. I usually have the Savage Eclipse canvas. I love that a lot, or the chestnut, like really dark.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have dark brown hair. So my hair always just blends right in, where I look bald. You can't even see my hair with one light. And adding a little bit of rim light, it's so beautiful. I'm like, I will never not use two lights. And now that I'm doing athletes in my studio, I use three lights. So now I have my main light, I have a rim light behind to the side, and the hair light. And now I can't imagine not using three lights. You know what I mean?
It is funny how that happens. Like, there is a joke around that's, no matter how many lights you have, you'll always want one more. But on the flip side, I'm like, oh, some people might think that's off-putting, that they have to have these complicated things, because you don't. But yeah,
you absolutely don't.
I couldn't imagine, I always do want one more, because it's fun now that I know how to use it. But when you first get started, one is plenty. Just one. We'll figure this one out. But yeah, Well,
that's the key. Figure one out. Yep. For 20 years, I had figured one out. I'm talking in my studio. Great. Then I learned how to add another. And then once you know the basics, then okay, then I'm going to add another, and then I'm going to add another. And then, but it inspires me every time I do something new, so to speak. I get inspired, like, wow, now my pictures are that much better. That now they're that much better than they were before.
You inspire me. I mean, talking about inspiration, what I love about your photos is I look like, wow, she delivered that. Like, it really, inspires me to keep tweaking things because I was, really victim still sometimes to the, I'll fix it in Photoshop or I'll fix it later. And I'm like, I will not fix this later. We are fixing it now. And that's how it's going to be. Like, but I love that about your work, that it's, you're getting what you want at the time. And that's really cool.
Well, that started, and it's funny because I could do a whole show on that. So that started years ago where a colleague of mine charged, and we had been working the same amount of years, charged, like, let's just say 4 times what I charged. But I live in a very small town and I like shooting my friends, or my town folk, you know what I mean? So I charged a lot less. She charged a lot more. She spent like an hour per picture correcting and editing and fixing her photos to be these beautiful works of art. Where I feel like because I understand metering to zero and I understand light, and I understand exposure and the gray card and everything else, when I upload my memory card, I'm like, damn, these all look good.
They do.
They look really nice. Then I go into Photoshop and I might, just kind of liquefy this or lift that or, whatnot. But it takes me, like, I probably edit, and not my fine art, stuff like you were saying, but like, just the run of the mill clients, I probably edit 5 minutes a picture above and beyond.
It's so much more fun to edit pictures whenever you get it close to where you want it to, like I
Well,
used
when
to
you're
hate
editing them, because you're
editing.
not fixing them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not fixing them,
Exactly.
you're editing them. Then you can get more creative and whatnot. But I remember telling my friend, who's making more dollar per hour? I think it's this girl.
Yeah, seriously.
So now I tell people, I'm not going to harp on you for what you charge, because you know what you're worth, where your demographic is and who you're shooting and who's paying and what, the average income is in your area. I'm going to teach you how to be profitable based on what you're charging.
Yeah, and that was a game changer for me is you can improve your bottom line no matter where you are. I can
Yes.
hit the preset and sync up 10 selections in just a minute when the exposure is correct. It does make it a lot easier and a lot more profitable.
Yeah. So I know you have to go. And this has been a fun 30 minutes. I always say, like, I'm going to keep this to 30 minutes because the statistics show after 30 minutes, people kind of zone out, and then, an hour and a half later, I'm still talking usually. But the bottom line to this episode and wanting to pick your brain and talk to you is literally just take out your lights and play with them. And if it's not lights, a window, do something fun with a window, do something fun, with block out some light on one side and have just the window light and play with someone just looking out the window, do something that you've never done before, but just sit back and go, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then figure it out.
And if I can make a suggestion that will really help people when they're practicing and trying things is only change one variable at a time and you'll see a lot more success. So park your camera at your camera settings that you want to use and then make one adjustment and move, if you're going to take out a light with a snoot on it, for example, or a light with a small softbox, move the softbox like 6 inches to 12 inches at a time, take a picture and then move it again. Or turn the power up a little bit or turn the power down a little bit and then turn it down a little bit more. Don't feel like you have to change everything at the same time. And then you'll actually learn more from that feedback of what it is you're seeing and doing. Just change one thing and work on one little thing, just like musicians with scales or 1 foot movement, just one little thing that you're focusing on.
And to add on to that, what I learned in the 80s in graphic arts when I was in high school was keep a notepad next to you and just kind of write what works and what doesn't work. Because then you can be like, wait a minute, what did I do that made this so beautiful? Oh, yeah. But I just keep, just a little notepad usually where I can jot down, this really works. Like, this is beautiful. And then
Or
what
these,
doesn't?
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Or these days, another thing, if you are not a write it out person, just take a cell phone photo of your setup and then save it to an album on your phone if you're not a note taker. And that's a visual representation of what you got.
That's brilliant. And I know that's why people always want to see the pullback, because I can look at it and go, oh, I can see where their lights were just because I can see the catch lights, or I can see the hair light. I can kind of make an educated guess, but I still love looking at people's pullbacks anyway, because I'm like, oh, I never would have used, like, I know Christine, one of my seminar peers, uses her beauty dish all the time. I hate my beauty dish. I have a beauty dish. I don't use it. But then I see her use it and I like, oh, I like that. Maybe I'll try mine again, But I love pullbacks because it really kind of shows like, oh yeah, I should try that.
So, speaking of pullbacks, if you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Julie Gylor, JulieGayler, and I try to share pullbacks for pretty much everything that I take because I do know the value of them. They helped me a lot, and I want to be giving that back to the community. So, pretty much every photo on there has a pullback, or at least I'm trying that.
I need to be so much better. Once in a great while, I remember, and it never occurs to me to use my phone. I'm like, literally, I just had a palm to face moment because I shoot with my 70 to 200 all the time. So I really can't get a pullback unless I switch my lens. But it never occurred to me to just take my phone and just go click.
That's what has to happen for me because I forget with my camera every time. I don't know. There's a disconnect there. The phone is for pullbacks and the camera is for pictures. That's
no. I'm gonna do that from now on. My phone. I'm gonna take a phone click before every thing I post from now on.
Yay!
Mark my words. Hold me accountable. Anyway,
well, I'll ask where it is.
Okay. Well, yeah, really, 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 I'm going to start doing that because I love when people say like, oh, I learned a lot from looking at that. Like, it makes me feel good. I know it makes you feel good. It makes me feel good when people learn something,
Yes, I love to see. That's how I learn. I learn from seeing other people. So I'm happy to be a part of that too. I like seeing other people. I really appreciate when they do because just that peek behind the curtain, the peek behind the creative curtain. My next personal goal is I want to get better about showing the lead up to these creative ideas and what went into it over time. So hopefully that'll be coming.
So you need to start documenting it on TikTok.
Oh gosh. Duh.
I'm so addicted to TikTok. It's like, it's embarrassing how obsessed I am with TikTok. And I don't know if it's the ADHD brain that likes going boom, 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 but I'm definitely on the creative side of TikTok, right? That's all I see is side hustles and creative, this, that, and the other thing. I absolutely love it. But I would love to see a 3-minute journey from, even if it takes you a year, of, oh, here's my idea. Oh, check this dress I just found. Blah, 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 blah. Boom, finished product.
I really will try to do that. I think it would be really valuable for me as well. It's fun as a creator to look back on what you created from nothing. So I'll try to do that. That'll be my next step. But if you do an episode on how to get into TikTok and Reels, that's the one I need to.
I am too old. I want to make a TikTok blow up my small business with my bumper, which I can't get off the ground. I can't figure TikTok out. I just can't figure it out. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, my brain wants to work. It takes a long time. So TikTok is a short format. So I'm like too slow for this. Like,
maybe that's it too. Or yeah, I'm like, who knows? Anyway, so maybe I'll check back in a few months and we'll see how we're coming along with TikTok.
We'll try.
Anyway, so thank you so much for chatting with me. I know we've played tag for a long time to make it happen, but so let's do this on my Sleeping on the Job podcast Facebook page. Let's just start sharing. I love when people share stuff, but share stuff that started out with an idea and over time you made it happen. I would love to start just seeing people's inspiration.
I'm totally going to follow along for that because I do too. That inspires me as well. It's just the more, we share and see, the more it spins off ideas. I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. Okay, well, it was nice talking with you and have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me. It really is an honor. I love your enthusiasm and dedication to doing this over time. And I really hope that inspires other people and Just
I hope so.
Thank you for trusting us with part of your journey. It's been awesome to keep in touch over time and see all the stuff you're doing. You're awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for inspiring the journey to happen. So right back at you.
All right. Thank you.
Wonderful. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.